Today I want to try a little experiment. I am going to upload a full emotional transformation I had with a client. I did get permission to record and share this transformation. And I just want to present it to you. I want you to watch and look through the full process of how this person goes from feeling one way about their situation, about the situation they're in now, and by the end of the session, their relationship to their own situation has completely transformed. Now, I'm going to be uploading two versions of this video. This version is just going to be the transformation. You may get a lot from seeing the process. You may get a lot from hearing what Miss G, which is what she asked to be called in this video, says, and the things that I say. You may get a lot from seeing the process itself. Now there will be another video which has commentary with me and another coach. We're going to watch through the transformation and comment on what's happening and what we're thinking and what's going well and what's not going well. So if you are interested in that, then stop this video and go look at the other video I uploaded that has the commentary. But if you're just interested in what does real transformation look like over the course of only 2 hours, then watch on.
Well, I think what's been coming up for me recently in the last few days has been somewhat like inner child shadow work stuff. Personally,
Mm.
I think the
Mm.
reason that I was on edge today is because so a few days ago I had a dream which really felt like my inner child was screaming at me and was like, I need
Mm.
you to pay attention to me. I'm hurting, despite the fact that like consciously I'm having a great time. I'm in a really good place in my life after a lot of work. I'm content. I am feeling at peace. And so it was a little jarring to have that kind of experience where I woke up sad, I woke up upset,
Mm.
and it wasn't me, it was, it was this inner child that I think I've been ignoring for a while.
Yeah.
And then I had this dream last night, which was really exhausting, and I woke up similarly tired and sad. So I feel like it was that. And I'd written a letter to my inner child yesterday, kind of trying to like not ignore them and acknowledge that they're
Yeah.
there and I'm here for them and I want to listen. So I feel like that's what happened, is that they were like, okay, if you're here to listen, I have some stuff to tell you.
Mm.
So that was kind of interesting because I can't, the first dream that I had wasn't subtle at all. It was very clear. It was very like, I'm
Mm.
hurting and I'm sad and I want you to pay attention to me. The second dream was more confusing and I just woke up really exhausted and
Yeah.
feeling weird.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I don't really have the energy to like analyze this or like try to figure out what it is. But that's
Yeah.
kind of what's been coming up for me in the last few days. If we can work with that,
Yeah.
that's fine. If you want to work with
Yeah.
something else, that's fine too. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So the question I have is, are you comfortable sharing either of these dreams?
Um, I think I could share um like a gist of the dream,
Mm-hmm.
like from whatever I do remember. I think from what I got from the dream, like the first dream was about abandonment by parents, and the second dream was disbelief, like people that I trust not believing me about something that
Mm.
went wrong in my life and not
Mm.
being supportive
Mm.
in a way that I needed them to, and that
Yeah.
increasing a lot more anger in child me, being like, well, I thought I could trust you and
Yeah.
I clearly can't.
Yeah.
And I think both dreams were kind of about that. It was
Uh-huh.
about like feeling
Mm.
like my trust was betrayed and
Yeah.
that I could trust certain adults, but then I'm realizing that I actually can't, and I have to take care of myself and be
Mm.
completely fiercely independent because I can't trust
Yeah.
anyone around me to do
Yeah.
that for me.
So I'm hearing that the dream you had last night, you're not comfortable sharing the content, but you're sort of
Yeah,
comfortable sharing the feeling you got from it. Okay.
yeah,
Um, so I'm gonna just try some stuff here,
yeah. Okay.
um, and I'm gonna sort of for some parts of this sort of metaphor interpretation that we're about to do. I'm gonna have you do some of the role that I would normally do of interpretation. Um,
Okay.
so if you would, I want you to imagine um, that you're back in that dream, and I want you to think of the most salient part or environment you were in of that dream. Okay.
Okay.
And it may help to close your eyes here to really get in that, and it may not if you're not. It depends on how your brain works.
Mm-hmm.
And I want you to imagine that you're back there, you're back in that environment, and you're just gonna let your brain fill in the details here as I ask you these questions. Okay. So where are you, and what do you see in front of you? Is the first question.
Okay. Should I answer you or?
If you don't want to share the content, then don't answer, right?
Okay.
If you're comfortable with sharing that, then you're welcome to. But just I want you to fill in that detail. Yeah.
Okay. It's kind of like this opening inside this house. It's like a cupboard, and it opens up directly into the outside. And there's this like, I don't know how to explain it because it's not really a thing that I've ever seen in real life, but
Okay.
it opens up into this kind of place where you could lie down, and there's clothes on the side. Like there's like a hanger on both sides, and there's clothes on both sides, and it opens up into the open, so there's sunlight all around it, and you could just kind of lie down there and just kind of relax, and that's what it opens up.
Wait. So just to be clear, the cupboard you can lie down in, or the place that's in front of you?
You open the cupboard, and it opens up into a place that you can lie down in.
I see. Got it. And you are in the place you can lie down, standing up.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I climbed up onto there. That's where I'm at. Yeah.
Got it. Okay. What's behind? If you look behind you.
Oh. My grandma, actually. Because I think we're in my ancestral home, like where we go back home.
So your grandma is also in this cupboard with you? She's
behind me. Yeah, she's not inside. Like she's watching me from the back.
Got it. So I'm having a little bit of trouble. So is there a back to this cupboard? I'm having a little trouble understanding this.
No, I get it. It's such a weird. It's kind of hard to explain, right? Like, it's kind of like a door, which looks like a cupboard, and then when you open it, it opens up to the outside. But
I see.
It's like a weird Narnia situation, you know?
Yeah. I'm getting it. Okay.
Yeah.
So your grandma's there behind you. In front of you is the room that you came through into this door.
Yeah.
What's above when you look up?
Just like arch. It's made of like a dark wood, and it opens up in the back with like these windows. And there's like grass and stuff. If I lie down, there's like an archway, and then behind me there's these windows that open up, and there's a garden. That's what's going on.
And when you look down, what's below?
Just like really colorful mattress that I'm on. It's like a very very Indian aesthetic bedsheet thing that I'm
on. What's left?
Clothes, like all of my clothes on the side. Like coats and stuff that I have from that wouldn't work actually where I am because it's not cold where I am, but I have a lot of clothes.
And what's right?
Clothes here, they like surround me. The weirdest. None of this makes any sense to me.
So, I wish I had. Let me get a piece of paper. All right. So, I'm not the best artist, but here's the bedroom. here's your clothes hanging. Oh wait, you can't see that at
Oh, I
all.
can see it. I can't see it.
Yeah, all
Okay.
right.
Okay.
So there's you. There's clothes hanging. There's the archway. There's the bedroom. There's the windows. There's your grandmother standing behind you, and here's trees. So that's what I'm imagining is
Okay.
happening.
Okay. You know what?
Yeah.
I can draw it for you too. Hold on.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Now I can
Yeah.
see it. Okay. So can you see
Yeah.
what I've drawn? Okay. So that's me.
Uh-huh.
And this is like this archway thing, and it opens up, and it kind of like folds out this mattress thing, and these
Mm.
are the windows, and the clothes are
Mm.
hanging to the side over here.
I see.
And
Yeah.
so when I lie down on here, I see this archway, and then behind me are the windows, and behind like that, that's where this is
Mm.
also like an open space. So there's
Yeah.
like the forest is back there where I see it through the windows,
Mm.
and that's me. And then behind me is my grandma, like here, like she's here,
Oh. Okay.
and
And
that's
what's
what we're looking at.
what's behind your grandma?
Like a wall, like it's
Like a
just
wall. Got it.
yeah,
Okay.
like the
Got it.
opposite
Okay.
wall. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So in front of you is the forest. Your grandma's not in the forest. Your grandma is on the other side.
Yeah, she's like literally,
Got
yeah,
it.
she's right behind me looking at
Okay.
me.
Yeah. Okay. And below you is this Indian tapestry.
Right, like that's where the mattress is.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Yes.
is that's your it feels
That's
sort
my
of
sleep.
traditional to your culture?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's
Okay.
what I was born.
Great. Yeah. Okay. So, all right. So, um, a lot of times when we have these metaphors, like dreams, like the metaphors we use, um, they're grounded in the metaphors we use in everyday language. They're grounded in the idioms we choose to use, in the in that sort of thing. Now, one of the things that I can't do is I don't know the Hindi idioms, and so there might be some here that you can add that make sense to you that we don't have in English. But let's look at what's going on, and I'll throw some stuff out there, and you can tell me if you feel this resonates with you, right? Um, so behind you is your grandmother, and behind that is a wall. And in front of you is sort of this open place where you can explore and go.
Yeah.
And so there's this thing here of like it feels like you're sort of aware of your past, but you don't feel like there's anything there for you. You don't feel like there's anything where to go there, right?
Yeah.
But when you look down, you're standing on it, so you still feel grounded by it. And you have to sort of leave it to go forward into this forest. So does any of that, as I'm saying that, does any of that resonate with you and what you're feeling?
Yeah, that does. That does resonate. I do have a
Mm.
lot of crap coming in from my past, and I'm very much looking, at least where I'm at right now in my life, I'm very much looking forward to the future and trying to step out. So that's
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Let's see here. Yeah. So there's a few other things here that you haven't quite stepped through into your future yet. You haven't quite stepped through into all the possibilities.
Yeah.
And there's something about the clothes. I'm trying to think of idioms related to clothes, to wearing things. Nothing's coming up for me, but there's something interesting there, where you're sort of surrounded by things, and maybe that's what's left for you is things. And like, in order to move forward, you have to leave these things behind. I don't know again if that resonates with you, because again we're sort of looking for different idioms for what's happening here. And when you look left and look right, what you have is clothes. Maybe that's what's left for you. Maybe that's what's right for you. Maybe not. Does any of that resonate with you?
Yeah, I am a hoarder of things and
Mm,
memories. I really like holding on to. I have notes
mm,
that my friends wrote me that they don't like. They're not particularly affectionate or anything. They're just like tiny things that they might have written me in class or something, and I have all of that kept. Like
mm,
I keep everything that anyone's ever given me, no matter how tiny or small or whatever. It's hard for me to let go of things. Um,
mm.
I don't like letting go of things, but
Yeah,
the only way that I have been able to let go of things is because I've moved a lot in my life,
yeah.
and so every time I've had to move, I've there's no way I can carry all of it, so I have to
Yeah.
prune my things down, and it's always like the most gut wrenching process for me. I hate doing it because I almost feel like I'm letting my things down and abandoning my things. I'm like, I'm so sorry, but I can't take you with me. But yeah,
Yeah.
I'm letting go of things. That's very true.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a
Um,
hoarder.
so another interesting thing here is the mattress that's below you.
Yeah,
It'd be so easy just to lay down here. And when you lay down, you can see all the things ahead of you and dream about them without ever having to go in and actually step through that archway, right? Because
right.
there's windows there.
Yeah,
Um, and you get to stay with your things if you do that.
yeah,
And that's not bad or good, but that it sounds like that's an option here, and it would be very comfortable to do so. Does that feel true or real to you?
yeah. It would be very comfortable to do. This is kind of
Mm.
what I'm doing right now, actually.
Mm.
Is I'm kind
Mm.
of in this liminal space where it's like not entirely in my control, but also some of it is in my control, and I'm not fully doing the things that are in my control. I did some of them, like I climbed
Mm.
onto the mattress, but then I didn't do the other things, like actually step out and go
Yeah.
outside and just
Mm.
kind of be there.
Mm.
Um, that's so true. Yeah,
Mm.
that does resonate for me.
Mm.
I am kind of just like I'm very comfortable where I'm at right now.
Yeah.
I'm very content. I'm like I get to dream
Mm.
about this and also get to be where I'm at right now, which is very comfortable and like kind
Mm.
of in the past.
Mm. Mm.
Very true. Yes.
Um, do any other idioms or Hindi things come up? Hindi phrases come up that sort of match with this, explain this, or anything else when you think about this in the idea of idioms or the idea of what if I think about like the literal words that I could use to describe this? Is there anything that comes up for you?
Um, I think so. I think
Mm-hmm.
you did a good job of translating what I was thinking. Once we drew it out, that was actually very helpful.
Mm.
Because I wasn't thinking that, but that's so true. Because I think the whole time I was frustrated, because a part of me was like, why don't you just leave if you're this
Mm.
frustrated? Why are
Mm.
you closing the door each time? Because I opened that door a lot in the dream
Mm.
and looked outside and like went through my clothes and like took things, but I didn't leave
Mm.
ever. And I don't know why. And I think I was getting irritated because I wasn't leaving.
Mm.
And then the last time I was going through my things and my grandma was looking at me and I was like, you're not stopping me. You're not even
Mm.
saying anything. You're not mad at me, which, like, thank you for not being mad. But why don't I just leave? I could just choose to not have to deal with this and just
Mm.
fuck off. And then I
Yeah.
didn't. And I didn't know why.
Yeah.
So that's the only thing that comes up for me is that it was like, there was a clear path to just get out. It was open
Right.
and I just
Right.
went. So
Um, so what has been your strategy to deal with this issue in your life? How have you been dealing with it or handling it so far?
with the issue of like not like with like leaving situations that I don't enjoy being in, or
Yeah, this whole situation you think about where you have this thing behind you and your past is grounding you and there's things here and it feels very comfortable and there's a place in front of you. How do you normally deal with it? Like, what's your normal, what do you do? Do you
my
try and forget about
normal
it?
thing
Yeah,
is that I
yeah.
have I have actually run far away from the
Mm.
situation that I don't enjoy. I have gone
Mm.
as far away from it as possible. I have gone 8,000 miles away from the situation and not thought about it at all. And anytime the situation would give me a call, I would just not have to deal with it. And so, because I was so far away, I could just be like, no, thank you, and then cut the call and
Mm.
then not deal with it and not think about it. But then the way that my life worked out in the last year is that I had to deal with it after
Mm.
5 years of not dealing with it
Mm-hmm.
entirely. Because I could deal with it from far away. It's
Yeah.
easy to deal with it from
Yeah.
far away because you're not physically present, so you're not as triggered by everything.
Right.
But I had to come back into the midst of it all. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of in this weird space where I'm not fully entirely in dealing, not like dealing, but like I am dealing with it, but I can deal with it from like a distance. I'm in the same space as the problem, but
Mm.
I have a boundary that I've created for myself that keeps me safe from it. So it
Mm.
doesn't impact me and I can deal with it objectively, which
Mm.
is, I guess, that mattress space of like,
Mm.
I can't leave right now because I'm in a situation
Mm.
where I can't, which is the pandemic.
Right.
Um, and so I'm kind of comfortably sitting on the mattress, just like, this is my space and we can deal with
Mm.
this in my space where I've created,
Yeah.
which keeps me safe. Because I can't leave right now for whatever reason. And like usually I just go far away. And this time I can't go far away. And
Yeah.
so I've created this little nook for myself where I
Got it.
get to be safe and deal with it still because I don't have a choice. I kind of have to.
Okay. Okay.
That's where I'm at. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So let's say that you're walking along this strange road, okay?
Okay.
And suddenly you see you see a woman there,
Okay.
and she's underneath this archway, and on the sides of her are these clothes, and behind her is her grandmother and a wall, and maybe behind her is something that she doesn't quite want to deal with. In front of her is this forest. Below her is this mattress, and again behind her is perhaps a situation that she doesn't want to quite deal with. That's there with her grandmother. And so you yell over to her and you yell to her and you say, "Hey, just sit down on the mattress and everything will be okay."
Yeah.
Um, does that sound like a good strategy? The answer could be yes. The answer could be no.
Um, no, it doesn't seem like a
Hmm.
good strategy.
Mm-hmm.
No. It just seems
Okay.
like the obvious thing is to just go through
Hmm.
regardless
Yeah.
and whatever is in front. Because the thing that I'm imagining is the issue that she doesn't want to deal with. I just imagine like a monster because it's easiest to just
Yeah.
like
Yep.
imagine like this big scary thing. And I'm like, well, if it's
Uh-huh.
right behind you, just take your grandma and just go and don't
Right.
sit there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's a very big, a lot of steps.
Yeah.
And what we find is that sometimes we can get a good perspective by just taking one step. So I want you to imagine that you're in this place. You're sitting
Okay.
down on the mattress like you normally do. Behind you is maybe your grandmother, and if it makes sense to have the monster there, if that feels right, that feels correct, then you can
Mhm.
imagine that there as well. The clothes are there, and let me know when you feel fully in that place.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, I'm
So we're
there.
gonna try a few different things here. Great. Notice how you feel. Notice how you're relating to this situation. And the first thing I want you to try is just standing up. You're sitting down on the mattress, just standing up.
Okay.
Notice, okay, how does that feel? Has that changed your relationship to the situation? Does that feel any different?
It's a little bit hard to stand up because the ceiling is a lot closer than I thought it was.
Hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually kind of bent,
Yeah, you're kind of hunched over
uncomfortably
a little bit.
close.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not it's a lot closer than I would have
Hmm.
imagined. I can kind of only sit on this thing.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I'd have
That's
to,
okay.
yeah,
Yeah. Okay. So you're sort of right now. You're almost crouched down.
yeah,
Yeah. Okay. So another thing here that then comes up is maybe you feel a little bit trapped in this situation, right?
yeah.
Yeah. Maybe you feel like you can't stand up for yourself.
Hmm. Yeah, I I do feel like I can't because there are other people involved
Yeah.
that, yeah,
Yeah.
I do have this tendency to make more space for other people, even if that means less space for me.
Hmm.
And last year was the first time that I was able to ask space for me while it
Hmm.
came at the price of someone else's space and their needs. I was like, well, I have needs and hence give
Yeah.
me those things. And
Yeah.
I think that might be the nook that I created, which I thought was maybe enough, but
Hmm.
I need them to work harder to
Yeah.
give
Yeah.
me more space to stand up
Yeah.
because I'm doing the best that I can with what I have, but I can't
Hmm.
stand up fully in this space
Yeah.
either.
So I'm gonna try another thing here, and I have a suggestion for you.
Okay.
And my suggestion is to grow up
Okay.
and grow up and up and up until you break through that space, because no one else can make that space for you. The grown-up
Right.
thing to do is to grow up and to make that space for yourself. And you don't have to. This is just a test for just trying this one little step. Try to grow up and up and up until you can break through and make that space for yourself. Until that space becomes bigger. All right, maybe or maybe you break through the ceiling and you do have space to stand up
Yeah.
for yourself. And just notice how that feels.
Hmm. I feel strong.
Hmm.
Like I don't need you.
Yeah.
I didn't actually ever um have this like strength
Hmm.
and power. I
Hmm.
feel powerful
Hmm.
and like so like in this situation I've broken the ceiling, right? So like I'm
Yeah.
in this dusty like area that's just I've just broken wood and I'm like,
Hmm.
in the ceiling and I'm
Hmm.
coughing, but I'm also like, yeah, like this is so
Yeah.
annoying. Like I can finally stand up and I've been like kneeling and crouching this whole time. It's been really
Hmm.
annoying. I don't care if it's dusty. This
Hmm.
hole is your problem and I need
Yeah.
to stand and
Hmm.
I will make a bigger space if I need to. This was not even enough in the first place. So
Yeah.
this is not
Yeah.
my fault. I did what I needed to do.
Yeah. Okay. Feel that for a second. Notice how that feels. And then you're just gonna rewind back to where you were sitting. The ceiling is back where it was,
Mm,
and you're gonna try this. You're sort of kneeling. You're crouching down.
mm.
Just notice what it feels like to take a step back towards your grandma.
I'm, I feel fear.
Hmm.
I don't want to.
Hmm. What would happen if you did?
It's dark back there. When I
Hmm.
open the door, it's really sunny and light, and I'm annoyed. That's why I opened the
Hmm.
door. But if I feel like if I step back, I love my grandma, but if I
Yeah.
step back, um, I feel kind of suffocated.
Hmm.
I can't breathe. But when I was
Yeah.
out there, I felt like I could breathe.
Yeah. Okay. Going back to where you were in the center of the room,
Mhm.
what would it be like, again, from this low place, from where you're crouching, to just take a single step forward?
I feel curious. Like I
Hmm.
can see a little bit more
Mm-hmm.
of the outside that I was trying to see, and my eyes are like wider,
Hmm.
and I'm like not comfortable, but I'm closer to being comfortable,
Yeah.
and that's good enough
Mm-hmm.
for now. Like I can see a little bit more outside, which is kind of
Mm.
exciting.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, oh, I didn't know there was a tree there. That's cool.
Yeah.
It's like greener out there than
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was, and like the sky is bluer than I thought it was. That's kind of nice.
Mm. Okay. Rewinding back to where you were. And I want to just give you a choice here, a real choice. You have the option to step back, you have the option to step forward, and you have the option to grow up. What would you like to do in this situation?
Hmm. Kind of like stepping forward more. I mean, it felt really great to
Mm.
kind of break through, but I also
Mm-hmm.
ended up just in a place that was dusty and
Yeah.
I felt powerful, which was
Mm-hmm.
nice.
Yep.
Um, I just made a mess
Yeah.
regardless. I didn't really end up where I wanted to end up, but
Mm-hmm.
when I took a step forward, I wasn't as comfortable and I was still a little bit scared, but like fear and excitement are the same feeling in your body. And I feel like I was like,
Mm.
there's like more there, and I like
Mm-hmm.
curiosity more than I like feeling powerful.
Yeah. Okay.
And I just like, really want to see what's out there, so I think I would pick
Mm-hmm.
stepping forward.
So I want you to allow yourself now to actually do that, to make that change in your mind. You're just going to take a single step forward from your situation where you are now. Like you said, from that position, you can see a little bit more possibilities. You feel a little bit of fear, a little bit of excitement, a little bit of courage. And just let yourself feel that now for as long as you want to or need to. And let me know when you, yeah, that feels integrated, that feels ready.
Okay. I'm gonna talk through it a little bit because it helps
Yeah.
me imagine it a little bit more.
Okay.
So when I was like a step backward,
Hmm.
obviously this like physically makes sense. When you step forward towards something, it like looks bigger,
Hmm.
and now it looks bigger, and there's like more,
Hmm.
and I can fill in those spaces with stuff that I didn't
Hmm.
see before,
Hmm.
and I'm like kind of like I want to take more steps and like peek my head out,
Hmm.
kind of excited to like feel the sun on my face. I'm a whore for the sun. I love sunlight.
Hmm.
Um, it's just so bright, and it's really nice.
Hmm.
I like how bright it is.
Hmm.
It's so dark behind me. I don't even want to think about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it feels integrated now.
Okay. So, feeling that, you've now taken this single step. It feels nice, it feels sunny, it feels bright. Coming back now and thinking about this situation in a literal rather than metaphorical way.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe noticing if any memories come up related to this schema you have, this situation, where you were acting like you were in this space, sitting down, not moving. Is any sort of memories or ideas, beliefs coming up related to that?
I did a lot of sitting down in one spot and not moving when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
Because we were very spiritual. We're a spiritual family, and we went to this thing. It wasn't like religious. It was like
Mm-hmm.
spiritual, kind of cultish, but not really.
Mm-hmm.
Open to all religions, etc., etc. And they had like a child care section, and it kind of
Mm-hmm.
started because of me, because my mom refused to not take her child with her.
Mm-hmm.
So they were like, maybe we should have a spot for kids to be able to sit while the parents are, going through this like
Mm-hmm.
lecture.
Yeah.
And so there was a
So I just
lot.
want to pause you and just
Yeah.
clarify here, because this could be great, but I do want to clarify the question I was asking, which was that
Yes, yes, yes.
feeling that you get from sitting, that sort of emotional state when you were just sitting, you felt a little trapped, you felt like you couldn't stand up for yourself, you were sort of bolstered by your history. Um, for memories that had that feeling associated with it. Now, if this is a memory, this memory from your child's care where you were forced to sit had that same feeling, then we can continue to go here. But if you just remembered it because it was sort of the same image as the metaphor, that's sort of a different direction than we want to go here. So I just want to double check that this memory sort of is something that felt the same as you were sitting there in in this metaphorical place.
I'm gonna double check with me too.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, just kind of zoomed out. Um, it is kind of the same feeling, but not as
Great.
intense as
That's okay.
the dream. I feel like I have another memory where I feel more intensely trapped.
Okay.
Um,
Let's go with both of them then. Let's start with the more
okay.
intense one.
Okay.
Is it something you're comfortable sharing?
Yeah, it's silly. It's
Okay.
fine.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been a dancer since I was 3.
Mm-hmm.
Um, a lot of body movement and stuff. So I'm very comfortable with my body.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but when I was in 7th grade or something, my mom really wanted me to learn karate. I did not want to, and I did not care for it. I mean, I would have liked it. I liked the concept of martial arts, but I hated where I had to go to learn it.
Mm-hmm.
And this is interesting to me because the dance class was literally right opposite the karate class. It was in the same building. It was
Mm-hmm.
literally like the apartment next to the other, like it was right next to each other. And it was an hour after each other. So first it was like 5 to 6 karate and then 6:30 to 7:30 dance. And it was right next to each other. So I could just leave home by 5:30 and then just wait for a bit and then go to dance. But I hated that because I didn't want to be there. I felt
Mm-hmm.
super trapped. I felt sweaty and gross. I feel like I couldn't
Mm-hmm.
leave because I'd signed up for a month and I didn't ask to be signed up at all. And I had to miss out on time with my friends that I'd made in the dance class
Mm-hmm.
because before my mom forcibly signed me up to do this, they would pick me up from my house and then we would have a half hour where we would like hang out and talk and then get to
Yeah.
dance class. And I was like missing out, in my opinion, on all this like really important bonding time with
Yeah.
these friends because they were also all way older than me. I never had friends that were
Mm-hmm.
my age when I was younger. They were all older than I was. And so I was like, if I don't hold their attention for long enough, they're going to forget about me because I'm so much younger than everybody.
Yeah.
Um, so I was so uncomfortable. I was deeply, deeply uncomfortable the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
I hated it so, so much to the point where I threw a tantrum and I was like, I can't do this anymore. I will walk home
Yeah.
after this class and have them pick me up just so I could spend time with them.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
that's how it feels sitting in that nook. where I'm like just so
Yeah.
uncomfortable and I can't move.
Hmm.
Very annoying. Yeah.
Yeah. Great. So I want you to imagine that you take this memory, and it was sort of like a little TV screen on your wall. You can sort of see yourself being uncomfortable in that situation
Mm.
from the outside rather than from from your eyes. Just watch through it a few times. Notice the feeling of it. Notice what it looks like. Notice what you notice in the memory, and let me know when you've done that.
Okay. I've done that.
Great. Now I want you to rewind, and I want you to imagine that you're sort of making some edits to this movie.
Okay.
And I want you to imagine that the Miss G, the younger you, in that picture, in that video, has taken this step forward, is relating to the situation in a new way, is acting in a new way because of that. Feels the sun on their face, feels the possibilities, feels how the brightness and the warmth of that sun. And how would Miss G in that scenario have acted differently, have treated the situation differently, have talked to people in her life differently, and just watch through again one time and notice any changes that happen. And then watch through again, notice any more changes, and keep doing that until it feels like you've sort of integrated this new perspective, having taken a step forward, what it would have been like to have this perspective in that situation.
I'm having trouble doing this.
Hmm.
Because she's really scared of like a retaliation.
Yeah, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Um, so I
Yeah.
wonder if you, as as Miss G at your current age, you have any resources or wisdom around how to act in a a way, in a wise way here, that maybe Miss G at that age did not have. In other words, if you were to give her advice, would you know how to have her act in this way where she's taking a step forward with this new perspective that feels a little safer?
Um, I think I would have told her to communicate to the parent that doesn't scare her all that much,
Hmm.
or I wouldn't retaliate that much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because one isn't listening, which makes
Yeah.
sense.
Mm-hmm.
Um, maybe other one's kind of absent, but at least the other one isn't that scary. And so
Mm-hmm.
maybe communicating instead of stewing in it
Mm-hmm.
would be better than
Yeah.
stewing in it. Because there
Mm-hmm.
has to be a way out. Um,
Yeah.
we've got to talk about it with someone because we're just so
Mm.
uncomfortable in that situation and it makes us so
Mm-hmm.
deeply feel really weird and we don't like it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
So
so
rather than
maybe
telling me, yeah, rather than telling me, perhaps you could tell your child self who felt ignored for a while and talk to that Miss G and tell her and give her the advice that maybe she wanted or needed so that she could take this new perspective and take a step forward. And you can do that out loud if that feels comfortable. You can also do that in your head if that feels more comfortable and real to you. Note that it doesn't have to be just talking. You could give her a hug if she needs it, and comfort her in other ways. Note your tone of voice. Okay. So once again, now, uh, with her new perspective, watching through that video, watching how she would approach the situation differently, continuing to do that until that feels integrated into what this memory could have been. And now I want you to step in to that memory as if you're re-experiencing it, but this time with your new perspective and your new actions. Um, and let the younger Miss G experience what it would have been like to have this new perspective and these resources that you have now. Okay. And you're going to step out again. Leave that on the wall, knowing that you can step back into that whenever you want. And I want you to bring in this other memory that felt like you were trapped. Put it on the wall beside this memory. Watch through it once. Notice what you notice as it was. And let me know when you've done that. And once again, I want you to notice what it would have been like if the Miss G in this photo, the younger you, had this different perspective, how it would have gone differently, what you would have done differently, how it would have felt different. Again, just looking at it on the wall and watching through as many times until that new perspective gets integrated. Great. And finally, I want you to allow yourself to step into that. Experience that as the younger Miss G, if you had acted in this different way. Notice what that would have been like, what that would have felt like. And then you can step out and look at them both on the wall when you're done with that.
Okay.
That feels good, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. So now that you have some of these reference experiences of how it is to act through this way and how it would be, I want you to allow these to, it can be really helpful as you move forward and you're wanting to act through this new perspective, to keep these with you in this nook, with this step forward, seeing this light. So I want you to allow these two pictures, these two memories, to integrate into the scene of you in this nook with your grandmother behind you. You've taken a single scoot forward, a single step forward. Maybe they're hanging on their little trinkets that are hanging on the with your clothes. I don't know exactly how they integrate, but just take a moment, figure out how you would integrate these reference experiences into this metaphor that you've created. And let me know when you've done that, and feel free to share if you want to share how they integrate.
So like I'm on that mattress thing, right? And then on this side, the place where I was trapped in my second memory, I just needed to be allowed to just get up because I almost definitely had undiagnosed ADHD, and it was kind of obnoxious to keep me there for that long. I couldn't do it. And I used to find excuses to like go to the bathroom, so just so I could move for a little bit. And in this memory, I've just said I can't do this anymore, and I've walked outside, and I just like have my headphones in with my little walkie-talkie, and I'm just like full out, I'm dancing, and just like I don't care about any of you, leave me alone. So I'm doing that on this corner. It's like the forest garden thing that I'm looking at, and then in this corner, I've learned the word unsafe, and I've been able to communicate, I do not feel safe in this situation. Please don't make me do it. And in this idealistic situation, my parent has heard me out and said, of course, you don't have to. And so I'm walking past the class and just going, I don't have to do this anymore. Bye. And I'm going to the other class. I'm not even in that class. I don't have to do it because I feel unsafe in there. So I feel kind of petty, but like kind of validated and like vindicated. I'm walking away from that situation. And so in this one, I'm walking away, and those two things are happening in like the outside space where the forest is. That's how I've integrated that in there.
Great. Now I want you to bring in, because some of these, like you just said, it feels a little idealistic. But I'm sure you've had this sense of warmth, of moving forward, of getting to a place where maybe you can stand up for yourself once you get to that outside place. In other memories, you've had this sense of this little different perspective, right? And so I want you to take now a few minutes and just begin to notice some of those other memories where you've had this sense, where you have been able to take that step forward, maybe stand up for yourself a little bit, where you haven't done this normal either having to sit down or run away behavior. And it might be hard to notice these memories at first, but as you notice a few, more and more will start to integrate. And as you notice them, just begin to integrate them into the scene, add them as more reference experiences, more way to act in this way that you now like to act. So the first few, if you'd like to, you can sort of walk me through, oh, here's the memory coming up, here's how I'm integrating it. And then as they start coming faster, you can sort of just let it happen.
Okay. The first one I thought of was I was 13, and I was raised in a conservative Indian family, and I have a very sweet but very overprotective father who likes to say, as many Indian fathers do, it's not that I don't trust you, I just don't trust the world. And that was silly because I wasn't allowed to have any friends of the opposite gender, which didn't make sense because he went to a co-ed school and he had friends of the opposite gender. And I remember once where I was like, this is really stupid and I'm going to need to sit down with you and have a conversation with you. And I was only 13, so I was very proud of myself for being able to do that and being like, this doesn't make sense and we're going to need to talk about it because you're being a little ridiculous as a parent.
Yeah.
And it was funny because he did the screaming and I did the calm, okay, you can get your feelings out, but we're still going to have to talk about it.
Yeah.
So like on this side, we're like sitting on the bed that we sat on when we had that conversation.
Great.
And this one time in college, actually, there was this classmate that I had that was, she was white and there were a lot of microaggressions happening that day and I was getting real tired of it. And I pulled her aside after class and I was like, I'm going to need you to respect your classmates a little bit more than you're doing at the moment. I'm not going to stand for it. It's very irritating and you need to chill. I get that I'm a brown person, but we go to NYU. I'm going to need you to act like we go to a school that cares about people that are not white. So that was cool. And that's happening here in this like hallway that happened. What else?
So these are all very big instances where you had to have a conversation with somebody. Are there smaller instances? Maybe it was more of a glance or more of a little thing, right? Sometimes when we think there needs to be this big thing, but when we it sounds like sort of the trait you're looking for here is something like assertiveness. And I wonder if there are smaller instances of this warm assertiveness that are coming up for you.
I think when it comes to little things, I don't know if this is little.
Okay.
It usually is me when I'm in a bar. I'm the mama bear friend. I'm the one just going, no, not today. No, you can stay away from my friends. Thank you. And it doesn't take me. It's a very like, no, you can turn around now, and that's it. That's all I'll say. Or, we're outside and like, men are yelling or whatever, and I'm just like, no, I'm good. Thank you.
So bringing in a bunch of those memories as a group or individually if any stick out. And then allowing more like that to come. I'm just going to give you 1 or 2 minutes here to continue to search for memories. In addition to smaller instances, you can also think of like different ways that you've shown this thing, right? Like this was all you sort of talking to people or saying things to them. Maybe you've been assertive with yourself, or maybe there's other instances. So just allow a couple minutes to see what comes up, to integrate those, and then when it feels pretty complete, when it feels good to you, let me know, and we'll move on to the next part here. Okay. So I want you to check in now with how you're feeling physically. Do you feel different? After having gone through a bunch of these processes, you've taken this step forward, you're relating, you have reference experiences for how to relate. Do you feel physically any different? Do you feel this sense of I've been calling it assertiveness, but I would prefer if you give it a name or for this new sense, for this new way of being, because I don't want to project what I think it is onto how it feels for you. Yeah.
I think it's more. I'm not trying as hard. If that makes sense.
Mm.
I am happy to be deliberate. I'm more deliberate.
Mm. And what type of deliberateness is this? If you had to give an adjective to this deliberateness, if you had to
It's like
describe this
patient.
deliberateness.
Like
Mm.
I take a step and just be like I'm not feeling rushed at
Yeah.
all.
Yeah.
I'm
So, yeah,
yeah.
go ahead.
No, that's pretty much it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So is patient deliberateness, does that feel something I can call this?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So this patient deliberateness, do you feel this in your body physically?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm able to like take a deep breath before I feel the need to say anything and to be
Mm.
quiet almost a lot more.
Mm. And where are you
Uh,
feeling this patient deliberateness in your body?
in my chest, in my stomach,
Mm. Mm. Yeah.
and
So your chest and stomach.
yeah,
Yep.
like
And
I'm
where else?
feeling less tension.
Mm. Mm.
And if there is tension, I'm quietly aware of it, and I'm just like, all right, that's cool, it's fine,
Mm.
it's there. I feel like I almost feel like my voice feels a little bit more relaxed.
Mm. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah,
So this sort of ease, lack of tension. I'm imagining an openness in your chest and
yeah.
stomach. Yeah. And is there anywhere in your body where it feels like this is not reaching or not going, where you can't this ease is not allowing itself to go to that part?
My neck, right here,
Mm. Mm-hmm.
still feels very like it needs some love.
Yeah.
Back of the neck. Yeah.
Okay. Um, what type of love does it need?
Hmm. Let's let go. It's like a little bit in pain at the moment. Like needs
Mm.
some kneading.
Yeah.
It's like holding a lot.
Yeah.
There's a lot of weight there.
Yeah.
It's holding this big thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
So I know it's gonna sound a little weird, but I'm gonna ask some questions of your neck, and I don't want you to try and answer them. Just sort of see what arises.
okay.
So this thing that your neck is holding, you can just ask this of your neck again. Just don't try to answer this. Just see what arises. Just ask, can you let this go?
Not really.
Okay. And ask, will you let this go?
God, I really want to.
Hmm. Then ask, when will you let this go?
Give me a second. I'd let go of it now if I could, but
Hmm.
I need some time.
Yeah. Need some
I
time.
am not there yet. I'm not ready.
Okay. Now ask, can you accept this thing you're holding on to?
I'm just hearing like I really don't want to. I
Hmm.
just no, I don't want to. I mean, if you ask
Hmm.
me to, I guess I can try, but
Hmm.
don't,
Okay.
I don't want it here. It's like
Sure.
I'm stuck.
Hmm. And will you accept this thing you're holding on to?
Yeah, because I care about you, so I will.
Hmm. When will you accept this thing you're holding on to?
I kind of have in a way, because
Hmm.
I'm doing it for you right now.
Yeah. So let that happen. Let that process happen. And when it feels like if there's still changes, there's still something happening, just let it happen. And when it feels complete, let me know. Okay. And I wonder now, can you feel that patient deliberation, that relaxation, allow that into your neck as well?
It hurts less now.
Yeah. Okay.
It's like feels lighter.
Hmm. Great. So I'm going to ask another question now that might be a little weird, um, but just ask and see what arises for you. When you talk to this patient deliberation and you ask it, "How old are you?" What answer do you get back?
7.
Hmm. Yeah.
That was pretty instantaneous. Yeah.
Okay. And how old are you now?
I'm 24.
Okay. So what I want you to do is just you're going to allow this part of you to grow up at its own pace. You can still have everything when it was 7. You're not losing that child of yours, but you're also bringing in all these experiences when you were 8 and 9 and 10, all the way up to 24. And ask it if it's ready to grow up like that. And if so, just allow that process to happen and all the wisdom and memories and things that it got stuck at 7 and didn't have a chance to experience. I want you to allow that to happen if that part is ready for that.
It's ready. And it said,
Hmm.
I'm a little scared, but
Hmm.
I am.
Okay. And now you're in this place where you're feeling this in most of your body, including your neck. You have a bunch of reference experiences of how you want to act now in this situation. You have a sense of what it would be like to take a step forward. And you have the wisdom of all of your life to act in this way. And I'm curious if there is maybe a time you can think of in the near future, maybe today or tomorrow or this week or this month, where you would have in the past felt trapped, where you would have reacted by sitting down or running away. Can you think of something like that that might come up in the near future? Situation that's likely to arise?
Honestly, pretty much everything that's happening in my life right now, I
Hmm.
would run away from
Yeah.
at any other point.
Yeah.
Um, I'm trying to think of something specific that we can hold on to. I'd say
Hmm.
um, applying to jobs,
Sure.
interviews. That's
Sure.
scary and I don't like it.
Hmm.
And I would procrastinate the hell out of it till I run out of time. And then I get to
Hmm.
blame the fact that, well, I get to blame myself because I didn't do it on
Hmm.
time. And I also get to
Hmm.
blame, I'm like, oh, well, the universe didn't want me to. And so I blame
Hmm.
myself. So I guess
Yeah.
I'll just make do with what I have right now where I'm
Sure.
sort of comfortable,
Hmm.
um, and I don't have to push myself to do things that are uncomfortable for me.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Great. So what I want you to do now is just imagine what it will be like to bring in this patient deliberation into this process of applying for jobs in the next day or week or month. And notice how that feels to bring in this deliberation where you've taken a step forward. I want you to imagine in as specific detail what it will feel like, what actions you'll take, as if you're there in first person taking those actions. And when you've done that, you can integrate that imagination of what will happen into this scene and bring it in. And by the way, if any sort of resistance comes up when you try to do this, don't force it. Just tell me that there's resistance coming up and we'll work with that.
The thing is, I feel like I'm already doing the things that I think I need to be doing.
Yeah.
And it's almost, it's like, my brain's like, what else do you want me to do?
Yeah.
I'm doing everything I can.
Yeah. So you don't need to be taking actions differently. I wonder if you would approach the situation differently, think about it differently with this sense of patient deliberation. It's not always taking different actions. Sometimes it's just taking a breath here or there or seeing things in a different way.
And some part of me is still doing this with a sense of lack mindset and not, it's like 80% abundance mindset and 20% lack mindset, which is kind of like being in that nook where it's like, it's right there. You've made your way to it. It's like 20% more and then you're there. It's literally like 2 more steps and then you're there. And like, I'm doing really well with these interviews and stuff. Like, I'm doing great. I pretty much have one thing in the bag, but I'm almost like worried. And there's some things that are not in my control because this job is abroad.
Yeah.
So it's like pandemic and everything, it's not really in my control. But I'm still worrying about it, which I don't want to. But I'm looking at it with like a, what if it doesn't this and that? And it's like, just
So what is that when you get in touch with that sense of lack, that worry? What does it want for you?
Comfort. Like, it doesn't want me to struggle. It doesn't want me to lie to myself again and tell myself that I'm enjoying something because I don't have a choice but to kind of create a dissociated reality where I'm not really enjoying it, but I'm romanticizing it so that I'm not miserable. And it doesn't want to do that anymore. It's like, I don't want you to romanticize struggle anymore. I just want you to genuinely be comfortable.
So it wants comfort, lack of struggle, and it wants you to avoid romanticizing struggle. Yeah. And why is that important? What does it want for you through that?
I think it's important because I've worked really hard. A lot, pretty much my whole life. I've never really taken a breath. And this last year has forced me to do that because I didn't have a choice. And so when I did take a step and stop working nonstop, like 12 plus hours a day, I realized how fatigued I was, which I wasn't allowing myself to really witness before. And it's like, dude, you have done so much work to get to a point where you really like the inside of your own head and you've gained your own trust that you will take care of you and that you will protect you and
Yeah.
that you'll make sure that you're doing good. And if you start romanticizing that again, it's like you're dissociating from yourself and
Mm.
not honoring your body's needs and your mind's needs, which might be different from what you're putting it through because you don't have a choice or you've put yourself in a
Yeah.
situation where you can't take care of yourself. And then
Mm.
you lose that trust again, which would suck because
Mm.
we had to work really hard to earn my own trust.
Yeah. So it wants you to honor your own needs and be able to trust yourself. Is that correct? Yeah.
Yeah.
So take a moment to just feel gratitude for that. That feels good, right?
Yeah,
To want to
so
honor.
nice.
Yeah. Yeah. So this worry, this lack, um, actually comes from a place of wanting comfort for you. So you can honor your own needs and be able to trust.
Yeah.
Now, when you think back to this feeling of patient deliberation, I wonder what it would be like to integrate and bring in the sense of part of patient deliberation is honoring your own needs and being able to trust yourself, which seems true to me.
Yeah.
So integrating this sense of not of making sure to not push yourself too hard, of making sure to not romanticize that struggle in order to honor your own needs and be able to trust yourself. And what would that be like as you take this step forward into the sun? To still remember to honor your own needs, still remember to trust your people, to be able to trust yourself, and to take this sense of this step forward with all of these images in the forest, and also integrate in this idea that you need to make sure that you don't romanticize struggle, that you need to honor your own needs, and that you need to be able to maintain trust in yourself. Does that integrate, or is there resistance when you try to do that?
There's fear there.
Okay. Where are you feeling the fear?
In my chest,
Mm-hmm.
my hands.
Yeah. I just want you to allow yourself to sit with that for a second. If it gets too much, you can come back to maybe your stomach where you were feeling that patient deliberation. But I want you to be able to come back to this fear and just sit with it. Maybe imagine you're breathing into it, breathing into that section in your chest, breathing into those parts of your hands, and breathing out. And just sit with that fear. It's okay to feel this fear. And if and when you do choose to integrate this sense of honoring your own needs into this patient deliberation, you can listen to this fear, and you can do it in a way that honors this fear. And you can sit with this fear for as long as you'd like to sit with it, for as long as you need to really integrate it. And I wonder if you can now bring in this sense of honoring your own needs and being able to trust into this sense of patient deliberation, into, as you're taking a step forward in a way that honors your own needs. As you're feeling this warmth and sunlight, doing that in a way that allows you to continue to be able to trust yourself. And when you now bring this sense back to how you approach your job search, notice how you might come at it a bit differently, see things differently, think differently, feel differently, even if it's just a little bit. And when you have a sense of what that would look like and feel like, you can again add that and integrate that in with this scene.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Great. So now we've looked at the past and we've seen how you would have done things differently. And we've looked at the future and see how you may do things differently. One last thing that I'd like to try, but only if you're comfortable, especially on camera, and you're welcome to do this off camera as well, if you're not comfortable with it. is right now in the present, integrating this in through movement. That is, if this were a dance or a way your body was moving, and you were expressing it right now. It doesn't have to be a dance. I mentioned that because you mentioned you were a dancer. But how would you move in a way to express this patient deliberation that honors your own needs and your own sense of continuing to be able to trust yourself? And what would that look like and feel like to express that right now through movement? It could also be through breathing, through noises or words you're making. Just give yourself a sense to truly integrate that into the body-mind system.
I'm gonna have to do that off camera for sure.
Okay.
And
you can, yeah, go ahead.
I might turn it off, like stop video and like mute myself maybe for
Yeah,
like a minute.
That's what I would recommend if you want to do it off camera. Yeah.
Okay, great. I'm gonna do that now and then I'll come back in a minute.
Great. Okay.
Hello.
Yeah. How do you feel?
Great. Like I got some energy out. It was nice. It was very, I feel loose.
Mm-hmm.
That's good.
Yeah. We're also, some of these memories we're dealing with making you sit, and we've been sitting here for 2 hours, so it's probably also just good to allow yourself to get up and move.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I think this is a fairly good place to take a little step back and just sort of discuss what's happened and how you feel and that sort of thing. Do you feel that? Is there anything that feels incomplete here that you want to address or talk about before we take a step back?
No, I feel pretty good.
Yeah. So what I recommend in terms of, so what I recommend in terms of sort of taking this forward is to maybe on an index card or somewhere in your work area, just jot down this feeling of patient deliberation that meshes with honoring your needs. I don't know if there's a new word for it now or a new way to describe it now that we've integrated this idea of honoring your needs and being able to trust yourself. But for this week, I would just put that word or phrase or an image, if that works better for you, somewhere that you can notice it. And just when you notice it, ask yourself, what would it be like to fully channel this feeling and energy and this new sense of this, with taking a step forward into whatever I'm doing right now, and just notice it and feel it and experience it. Right, we've done a lot of integration work here, so I'm feeling pretty good about this and ending up showing up in your life even when you're not thinking about it, and just sort of noticing you're interacting in a new way. But it can be very helpful, especially in the first week or so, when you make a reconsolidation like this, to consciously try to act through this new emotional schema, this new sense that you've created. How does that sound to you? How does that feel to you?
Sounds fun, because I am feeling energized by the end of this. So it sounds, like when I look at it, I'm gonna feel really fun and like energized.
Yeah.
Like I can take the day on, because I have like these notes on my mirror with like all these affirmations. So I'm just gonna add that on there and look at it, and it's probably gonna feel like I'm gonna feel like a badass. I feel like, and so
I like that.
Yeah. So I'm excited.
Very
Cool.
Awesome. All right. So the second thing I want to ask is, what did you think?
Had a lot of thoughts, but I think you directed them really well. I usually feel like I have thoughts that go a mile a minute. And so it was good that I felt directed the whole time. Like I felt gently guided towards certain things in certain areas. I was able to imagine myself fully in certain scenarios. And I felt comfortable asking for things that I might want to do. Like, can I talk through this? Or
Mm.
I'm feeling some sort of pushback on this from within. And I've been to therapy a lot, but sometimes I would struggle even in that situation, being like, no, I think you're wrong. I don't feel that, or I can't do that, or it doesn't feel right to
Mm.
me. That happened not as often. And that could be a combination of I've grown up and I've been through a lot
Mm.
of it. So I know how to stand up for myself and say,
Mm.
I don't feel this, or I feel resistance. And also
Yeah.
being with a person who gives off that vibe of like, you can feel free and comfortable to tell me how like what's going on in there, and like nothing is
Mm.
wrong, or we don't have a wrong answer here. It's just whatever
Mm.
happens, and then we work through it. So
Yeah.
that was good. I felt good about that.
Mm.
um I came into this with, like, I was excited. I
Mhm.
love free stuff. So I was like, yay. And I love self-growth stuff. And I've been following you for a while. So I went into it with like high expectations, I would say.
Mm.
And
Mhm.
I feel like those were met. Like my expectations were met. This was a cool situation for me.
Mhm.
I will be telling people that I know about it, and about it being like a cool situation for me. I
Mhm.
liked it. It was fun. Um, and I think the thing that stood out to me most was that I felt comfortable, which I think is hard to do when you've literally just met somebody and
Mm.
are trying to do an emotional transformation coaching session with them that you've never
Mm.
met before, also over Zoom, where you can't gauge their
Yeah.
bodily reactions, you can't gauge their body language, how they're feeling, how open they are to talking about certain stuff. That's hard to do. That's
Mm.
difficult. And it's hard to maneuver. And I feel like I'm an easy client because I love people and I can talk to
Yeah.
face. But
Mhm.
but it's still hard.
Mm.
And I'm I have zoomed a lot of strangers on the internet, and
Mhm.
I really hate when I feel an awkward tension because it's Zoom.
Mm.
How are you supposed to figure that out with this person that you don't know?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
this didn't feel like that at all. It was great.
Yeah.
Like I didn't feel like I was like, "Ugh, I'm gonna go after this and tell my friend, wow, that was awkward, and I didn't like that at all, and I'm so glad it was over.
Mm.
Like that's not how I feel about it at all, which is great.
Mm.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, all in all, great experience. Very much
Mhm.
enjoyed it.